What if I told you the thing that you think is you has already been replaced completely? Not metaphorically, literally. Your body has replaced almost every cell you have a decade ago. Your memories have shifted. Your personality has drifted. So here's the question that breaks the intuition. If everything about you changes, are you still you? Now push this further. Imagine a ship that sails for hundreds of years. Every plank rots, every nail rusts, and one by one they are replaced, until one day not a single original part remains. And yet people still call it the ship of Theseus. So here's the real question. Is it still the same ship? Or did it quietly die long ago? This thought experiment comes from ancient Greece. According to the tradition, it was the ship of the hero Theseus, the king who defeated the Minotaur, and they preserved the ship as a sacred object. But woods decays, so they replaced the planks one by one over time. Every original part disappears. And here's where the paradox begins. The philosopher asked, if no original part remains, is it still the same ship? And if not, at what exact moment did it stop being the ship of Theseus? Was it the first plank replaced, halfway through repairs, or only at the very end? There is no obvious answer, and that's the point. At first, this sounds like a trick question about ships, but it's actually about something deeper. What makes anything the same over time? Because almost nothing stays identical. Your body changes, your brain rewires, your thoughts evolve. Yet you say, I am still me. So philosophers realized the ship of Theseus is not just about ship. It is about identity, time, and continuity. Philosophers have proposed several answers. Let's go through the major ones. First, material identity theory. This theory says the ship is defined by its matter. So if the original wood is gone, it is no longer the same ship. Simple. But it breaks immediately. Because then, repaired cars are new cars. Replaced organs, meaning you're a new person. Almost nothing remains identical over time, so this view is too strict. Second, functional continuity theory. This view says the ship is defined by what it does. If it sails like the ship of Theseus, it's used like it, and functions continuously, then it is the same ship. This is more intuitive, but it raises a problem. If I build a perfect copy of the ship, it functions the same way. Which one is real? Now identity becomes unclear. When applied to humans, this becomes more interesting. Philosophers like Locke argues, you are you because of continuity of memory and consciousness. So even if the body changes, if the memory connects the past and the present, identity survives. But this leads to a problem too. What if memory is copied? What if it is split? Which you is real? Ancient philosopher Heraclitus said, you never step into the same river twice. Meaning, everything is always changing. So the idea of same object is already an illusion. The ship is never the same ship. The person is never the same person. Only change is real. But this makes identity almost meaningless. Philosopher Thomas Hobbes made the problem worse. He asked, what if we collect all the old parts and rebuild a second ship? Now we have two ships. The ship one is continuous use, fully replaced part. The second ship has all the original materials reconstructed later. So which one is the real ship of Theseus? There is no objective answer because identity splits into competing criteria: continuity, material, and history, and they conflict. Here is where most people misunderstand this problem. The ship of Theseus is not asking a question with one correct answer. It exposes something deeper. Identity is not a physical property of objects. It is a conceptual decision. We choose what counts as the same. So the limitation is there is no single universal definition of identity, only different perspectives. Physical, functional, psychological, linguistic. Now this is where it becomes modern. If a human is replaced cell by cell, memory copied, behavior simulated, is it still the same person? If an AI is duplicated, forked, and modified, is it still one system or many? The ship of Theseus is no longer a sheep problem, it is an information problem. So maybe the answer was never about sheep. Maybe it was always about us. Because if identity was just continuity, then the question is not, are you still the same person, but instead, what exactly are you continuing? And maybe the real paradox is this. The moment you try to define yourself precisely, you discover that there was never a single fixed you to begin with. And that's all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.